Hey, peeps, locking down the truth with Marci Lock and
Dallas Michael Sear, Ignite Purpose.
sweet. So, I want you guys to tune into something. This is what I was recognizing happened for me is a couple years ago when I would get offered all these TV spots, like national TV started to show up for me. So a big opportunity shows up in your life to be able to create more results of what you want. And there's a reason why we don't allow ourselves to step into it or to receive it or allow it or have even more of these results. And when I started getting offered TV shows nationwide, I had all these weird, crazy things show up for me, like injuries would show up with my foot and my ankle, like I couldn't walk. And when I look at the motions connected to those, it was like fear of moving forward. And as I connected the dots to that, I was like, fear of moving forward. If I move forward, I'm going to be seen more. There was fear and attachments of, because I had rape attempts, kidnappers, stalkers. There was fear of being attacked. There was fear of being seen. And I had to look at these things and break these things down that allowed that darkness to become light and not even bother me more, that allowed me to move forward. The reason I want to share with you that part is because the main message here that I want to share with you, an experience that I had, and I decided I really wanted Dallas to be involved in this, and this could be a longer explanation of things, but this is extremely fucking powerful on if you're not willing to look at the things that have been your past experience and been what you thought were dark and you hid in the closet and you put in this room. Well, when we open the closet door, light is effortlessly going to flow in. And all of a sudden the darkness becomes the light and it no longer bothers you, triggers you, or holds you back. So when Dallas flew in that night, he wanted to watch a show that was basically about, it was a really intense drama about a girl who had been kidnapped, and then, she was basically a sex slave and had a child and raised the child in this room she was held captive in, and all he knew was the room. So that's the flatline experience of it. Well, what happened was I was massively triggered by this, right? So you want to share what you saw?
Yeah, I mean, we were watching. I mean, it's a good movie. We're just enjoying the movie, and then all of a sudden, I just noticed that you were really quiet, uncomfortable. I could feel a shift in energy for you. I could feel even the temperature in your body shift, and was just asking like, what's wrong? And that's when we started to explore. Anyway,
yeah. So we finished the movie, and I just was like, wow, I just notice like really heaviness in my chest. And so that's the first thing, is you're going to become aware that something's off. You don't feel good anymore. And I was like, so maybe I'm just like really sad. What triggered me first off, and I thought, was I'm really sad that actually exists. It's in the world. And because I was like, wow, that was actually what I grew up in believing, is that the world is scary and unsafe and there's scary people. Hence I attracted stalkers, rape attempts, kidnappers, all these things. And as I leaned into it more, I actually got to, it's just allowing, see the feelings there. If I just run past it and I, was afraid to like be vulnerable or be seen or to share with him, I wouldn't allow the stuff to come up.
Suppress it, ignore it, not give any
voice to it, to be heard and to be seen. So we always talk about being safe, being heard, being seen, being supported, and being loved. And so until it's all those things, it's like when we fight the darkness and we fight these things, if I was just like, oh, I don't feel good, and I just ran past and ignored, I would never allow these things to be broken through that are keeping me from. Now, this is where the connections are. This might be why you're blocking a relationship, blocking, the masculine energy. It might be why you're blocking being seen for your audience, or your message being out and being heard, because there's these deep connections and fears of rejection, judgment, whatever. For me, with that, being attacked or things like that, if you don't look at this stuff, then you don't allow it to actually not exist anymore and allow you to then receive and create the results that you want in your life. So even me creating a voice for it, saying, wow, well, I noticed these are the things going on. And also I had these flashbacks to the 11-year-old girl that experienced the stalker, and I got to tell him some of the experiences, and literally my body, and his hand was on my back. It was like my body started to shake. I had chills. I had like started to sweat and literally like felt my heartbeat. And this is the power of the mind. I had the thoughts, and I'm in a safe room with him, totally safe. And what happens is I'm taken back to the experience, and I'm feeling it in my body, which means it exists inside me. I've taken these emotions and I've stored them inside my cells and my body. And getting to what he was, gave me some great reminders of getting to reframe it, getting to see, be even myself now going and reminding that 11-year-old girl that I'm safe and I'm supported. Yeah. And
so let's get a little bit more specific here. So there was an experience when you were a young girl, and family would go off, your brothers and sisters would go to school, mom and dad would go to work, and you would have a moment before you would go do whatever it is for your day, and so you'd get a phone call.
So yeah, basically like when the last person would leave my house, all of a sudden it was when I was off track, if you know what that is. Like got 3 weeks break out of school. My older sister was going to junior high. I was still in elementary. My older brothers would go to high school. And the moment the last person left the house, phone would ring, and I pick up the phone, and this guy's like, I see you. I'm watching you. Scared the fuck out of me. And as a little girl, I just shut down and like hid in the corner and was so afraid based on a phone call. We could never figure out where he was, how he would know, tried different things, people leave at different times, etc. Yeah. This created so much fear in me.
You even had an experience of people not believing you.
Yeah.
And giving validation.
Yeah, and being like, you know, not, and so there's a lot of like blocking the, you know, safety and being guarded with the masculine and all these things that for years created that evidence. And even me thinking I could be attacked or seen was scary, heard was scary, all these things I got to break through these years of experience. And my point being, I didn't still know that there was some of this inside me. And I shared it with him an experience of like how for years that affected me, because I'd get to, you know, get dropped off from soccer practice or whatever it was and walk down this long dark driveway that we had to the back of the house, which is where we got to I got to open the door, unlock the door to go inside. And it was all bushes and all pitch black dark, and you know, our farm was behind it. And literally every fucking time from the moment I got dropped, it was like this instant fear of like looking around me and just like trying to hurry and like get my key in the door and like shaking and just feeling that I could be attacked at any moment, that this guy would just show up. So hence all the years in inner work I've done of being safe, being supported, all these things, and breaking through to allow me to, again, now, like from guys watching me at the gym, it used to be if a guy was staring me down the gym, I just literally would like shut down and want to run. Now I'm like, fucking take a picture. It'll last longer. Like I know I'm hot. And that's that part of like, I know I'm safe. I'm the source of my own safety, and I've created that. But see, this trigger brought up for me that I hadn't gotten to really feel that emotion and reframe that emotion and see it. And so what came up for me is through even him giving me some reminders of going back and looking at it this way. And I got to look at it as like, oh my gosh, it was like a phone call. Yeah. Some douchebag just gave me a phone call, and I took on all this fear around it, etc.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just some suggestions of going back into the past. You know, we talked about we could do a much longer video, much more detailed video.
This could be a whole course.
Yeah, time not even being a real thing, and you being able to go back into the past and speak to that little girl who had that experience, who didn't know any better mentally and emotionally to react any differently, who didn't know that she was safe, and then to be able to have that conversation with her and shift what is going on internally in your body, because it shows the power of the mind-body connection, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
When you
that I could talk about it.
Something get triggered and you can just feel it, have an actual visceral reaction. Yeah. Because that's what the body does. It stores that trauma in our neurology, and you're able to go back to that and shift it.
And I think something important for me that I recognize is because I had several rape attempts and I always fought my way out. Right? And so it's like I could handle a physical interaction, but this one was in my mind that I've never felt control over, because I never could see the person or know where they were or all this. And so it was all these years of it's scary to be seen, because then something could happen to me. And just to make those dots and connections, and as we got to voice this, and so this is part of why, I mean, gosh, we could do a whole course on this, on co-creation and conscious relationships. We could do a whole course on this and being heard and seen and to manifest like a motherfucker. There's so many connections to this. What I want you to hear is, if you're not willing to see what is and drop the stories or attachments to it's bad or it's wrong, because I could have been in a story of like, oh no, I'm sad, or there's heaviness, or this or there's that, I don't want you to see that or be vulnerable, or
and you could have totally shut down, not allowed us to further investigate and explore what you're experiencing. The story and the detail wouldn't have come up. You wouldn't have moved through it. I wouldn't have understood what you were experiencing and been able to offer support. I would have been frustrated and confused.
And as a guy wanting to just fix it, and as a girl being like, you know, I can't share these things, or I don't want to show up a certain way. So this is part of and this is part of all being in the source of your own experience and owning your own experience. There's no judgments or attachments to it. And I got to just even asking for what I want. Can you ask for what you want? And can you be seen and can you be heard? So as I got to share these things and I tuned into it, I was like, I processed through all these things. Like, I know I'm safe. I didn't even consciously know that this was still there. So what I kept hearing was, you just get to feel this. So you love it. Like, I love that little girl took all these things on, and hence why I attracted kidnappings and rape attempts after this. I mean, the stalker was when I was 11 years old, and after that I had years years of these experiences, of scary experiences, and even guarding the masculine and all these things, where now I'm like, I was looking at it, I'm like, the masculine, to me, I have amazing, beautiful men in my life, and I have the best, you know, most epic men in my life as best friends that I'm so supportive and I'm so safe, and it's always like consistently there for me because I switched and shifted those things, yet I got to feel it. And just even tell him, I was like, I just feel like I get to just, you know, I just want to be held and just want to be reminded that I'm safe, and allow that little girl to be heard and to be felt, and allow that vulnerability to be there. And this is where we talk about the feminine and the masculine both being there. If I just stayed in this masculine of doing and I hid all this, I wouldn't be manifesting like a motherfucker. Sure. I would not be standing in my power here. I wouldn't be sharing my message with the world, because
we might not be together.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely, I would still be attracting, you know, things that felt unsafe, and I'd be guarded from it, etc. So we just really I wanted to put voice to this of, you know, how powerful it is to be aware of what's going on, that there is no judgment. We have no judgments or stories around any experience that we have. It just is our experience. We can just look at it and hear it, and interesting, and this is the truth, and this is what I'm looking for, which allows you then to be in a place to create what you want, because it's clear energy. It's like excitement, curiosity, wonderment versus fear. If I'm seeing so the power of that.
Yeah, find the connection. You know, be willing to look at it, and then it has the ability now to move through and shift, and you can then choose so much easier what you want your experience to be after that.
Yeah, so this, obviously, guys, this was like an inkling of lots of different things. We knew this would be long, but I felt like it was really powerful for you guys to hear. People always say to me, Marci, do you ever experience shit? Because, like, my shit is gift. See this? Yeah. This beautiful gift. It allowed us to get closer. It allowed me to see where, you know, I hadn't loved some certain things. So the darkness inside you, when that shows up, it is just what else you get to love. Yeah. So that you allow yourself to receive even more and be even more worthy. Yo, snap.
Amen.
Lock it down.
Boom, shakalak.
Bitches. Power of choice is yours. Choose your best life. Lock it down.